Hello and welcome to Mitv Primetime News, coming to you live from our broadcast studio here in Lagos. I am Teresa Adeyemi. We begin the news tonight with the top stories. NAS OK's autonomy for local government. Federal government resumes negotiations with ASU. From the foreign scene, Russia's Kharkiv attacks are war crimes from Zelensky. Sport. Shakhtar Donetsk evacuates Brazilian players from Ukraine. Now the news in details. President Muhammadu Buhari has disclosed that to end all forms of insecurity across the country, his regime and security agencies would need Nigerian support and patriotism. Buhari made the call during the National Security Seminar organized by Alumni Association of the National Defense College on Tuesday in Abuja. This was contained in a statement by his spokesman, Femi Adesina, titled President Buhari urges Nigerians to get more involved in security, health security agencies, service chiefs for courage on Tuesday. The president urged Nigerians to get more interested in working with security agencies to tackle myriad challenges facing the country. This is as he also extolled the courage and bravery displayed by security agencies and service chiefs in promoting peace and order. The president said more could be achieved in bringing law and order to various parts of the country with the full cooperation of citizens. Buhari said his regime had put in place measures to adequately support the armed forces of Nigeria and other security agencies in terms of modern equipment, boosting the manpower of all security agencies, and financing their operations in Nigeria and other international assignments. The Senate has received a letter from President Muhammadu Buhari seeking an amendment Section 84, subsection 2, subsection 12 in the 2022 Electoral Act. Buhari, in his letter that was read on the floor by President of the Senate, wants the National Assembly to amend Section 84, subsection 2, subsection 12, which states that no political appointee shall be a voting delegate or be voted for at the convention or congress of any political party for the purpose of the nomination of any candidate for an election. The president said the amendment is necessary as the clause constitutes a fundamental defect and leads to the disenfranchisement of political office holders. President Buhari added that the provision introduced qualification and disqualification criteria that ultra-vise the Constitution by way of importing blanket restrictions to 7 political office holders.
After exhaustive deliberation and scrutiny of the curriculum vitae and other supporting documents of the nominee, and having been satisfied with his qualifications, experience, suitability, competence, and ability, the committee hereby recommends that the Senate do confirm the nominee of Professor Mansour Awadu Bindawa as non-executive commissioner on the governing board of Nigeria Commercial Commission. Prayer, Mr. President, that the Senate do approve the recommendation of the committee. I so move, Mr. President.
Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Professor Mansour Awalu, Electoral Act Amendment 2022, matters arising? I write with the reference to the recent assent to the Electoral Act Amendment 2022 and to draw your kind attention to some salient issues contained in the Act and to seek your immediate legislative action thereon. I have carefully studied the content of the recently assented Electoral Act Amendment 2022. I must admit that there are positive provisions that could revolutionize election process in Nigeria, particularly through the introduction of new technological innovations that will in turn guarantee the constitutional rights of citizens to vote and to do so effectively. The area that is ultra-vires the Constitution by way of importing blanket restriction and disqualification to serving political office holders, of which they are constitutionally accorded.
The National Assembly on Tuesday granted financial and administrative autonomy to all the local governments across Nigeria. This was done when the lawmakers voted on 68 constitution amendment bills at the plenary. The voting was done electronically. Four chambers of the National Assembly during voting on the Constitution Amendment voted in favor of local government administrative autonomy as a tier of government and guaranteed their democratic existence and tenure. In the House of Representatives, the bill to create a special account through which funds for local government will be paid directly from the Federation account at 257 yes vote, while 9 persons voted no. For the local government autonomy, 258 members of the House of Representatives voted yes, while 15 voted no. And the Senate chamber, local government financial autonomy at 92 yes vote and 2 no vote. Also in the Senate chamber, local government autonomy at 258 yes vote and 15 no vote. Local government administrative autonomy at 88 yes vote, 4 no vote.
Number 37, Mr. President, is affirmative action for women in political party administration, setting aside 35% of executive at all levels for women. Bill number 38, Mr. President, is indigenous rights, and this seeks to alter the provisions of Section 31 and 318 of the Constitution. Mr. President, Bill number 39 is the power to enforce compliance of remittance of accruals into the Federation account and review of the federal allocation formula. Mr. President, Bill number 40 deals with the independence of certain bodies. Mr. President, Bill number 41 deals with the removal of the transitional lawmaking powers of the executive. We cannot be in transition in perpetuity.
The first bill we'll vote on is Bill number 1, 2022, Local Government Financial Autonomy. We can vote now. Yes, 2 no, abstain 1, total 93. Everybody has voted. And this bill is also
The House of Representatives on Tuesday voted for the amendment of 59 out of 68 clauses of the 1999 Constitution Amendment. The House led 68 clauses to be amended, 59 clauses scaled through, while 9 clauses were rejected by the lawmakers. House of Representative correspondent Linda Ike reports that most of the bills seeking women representatives were killed by the lawmakers. Speaking in favor of women, the Deputy Minority Leader, Honorable Toby Okechukwu, charged his colleagues to vote for bill to provide a 20 minimum percentage for women in ministerial commission and nominees, which was the last bill on the list proposed for women. The bill was not approved despite the advocacy by Honorable Toby Okechukwu until the Speaker of the House, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, put it for voice vote.
Any society that excludes 50% of its population is not going to live up to its potentials. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, it does not hurt, it does not injure, it does not do any harm to the Federal Republic if we bring our women folk up to speed. And 20% of it, Mr. Speaker, is not out of place. Mr. Speaker, this is an exercise that will be, this is a performance, a responsibility that will be exercised by the person in authority and can bring the best of our women and give them positions.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. We have voted on 3 matters that concern women. This is the last vote for today. What this says is that when the president appoints ministers, he should appoint minimum of 20%. So when you have, for instance, if you have, for instance, 40 ministers, 20%
Mr. Chairman,
the system is down. The system is down, and I'm going to put the questions. Those in favor of the 20% for women say aye. Those against, please say nay. Clearly, 230, the ayes have it. 20% for women.
The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees has called on lawmakers and the National Assembly to vote in favor of autonomy for local government and judiciary in the ongoing constitutional amendment. The President, Nigerian Labour Congress, Ayuba Waba, made the call on Tuesday during a protest to the National Assembly in Abuja. He stated that the autonomy of the local government is paramount to strengthen democracy for the effective delivery of good governance and national development. Majority Leader, House of Representatives Al-Azan Dogawa, while receiving members of the union, assured that the House, under the leadership of Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, remain committed to the welfare of the Nigerian people and deliver on its expectations. Also, the Chairman, Senate Committee of Labour, Senator Godiya Akwashiki, further stressed the need for members of the union to visit the State House of Assembly to also vote in their favor.
Senators and honorable members, one, to support the ongoing process of constitutional amendment, and to reiterate the fact that on 3 core issues, we want the National Assembly to vote unanimously in support of those issues. One is the autonomy for the local government system. The local government system, if allowed to work effectively, it will address the mirage of challenge that is affecting the Nigerian society. Today, local government system is in the pocket of few. In fact, the allocation to local government has become pocket money for the boys. We want that to stop. We want a system where in administration, in finances, even in the election, there should be a process where there should be full autonomy for the local government. The second issue is the judiciary. Judiciary cannot dispense justice free, fairly, without the autonomy. He who pays the piper will continue to deter the tune. And therefore, we want the judiciary to also be independent so that they can be able to dispense justice free, fair, and to the best of their ability. If they are allowed to be running cap in hand, to be begging money to maintain the courts, you are sure that we are not going to have justice that is free and fair. And lastly, is for the parliament.
To the converted. The 4 issues raised by the President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, as mentioned here, have been succinctly captured in our report, which is right now before the House of Representatives for final consideration. I want to assure you that the House of Nigerian People, the House of Representatives, under his leadership, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, will not renege in our commitment to continue to deliver on the expectations of Nigerian people. We will continue to deliver on the promises we have made to our people during the electioneering campaign.
The Senate has confirmed the nomination of Professor Mansour Al-Walu bin Dawa as a non-executive commissioner on the governing board of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. The confirmation of the nominee on Tuesday followed the consideration of a report by the Senate Committee on Communications. The report was laid and presented by Senator Yahaya Oluriegbe on behalf of the committee chairman, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. Oluriegbe, in his presentation, said Bindawa's nomination by President Muhammadu Buhari was in compliance with the provisions of Section 5, subsection 3, Section 8, subsection 1, and Section 11, subsection 2 of the Nigerian Communications Act 2003. He added that the nominee met the statutory requirement regarding his professional and educational competence for appointment as non-executive commissioner on the NCC governing board. It disclosed that preliminary checks did not reveal any record of indictment against the nominee by any administrative or judicial panel or court of law for abuse of office or criminal offense. The nominee was confirmed after the consideration and adoption of the committee's report.
After exhaustive deliberation and scrutiny of the curriculum vitae and other supporting documents of the nominee, and having been satisfied with his qualifications, experience, suitability, competence, and ability, the committee hereby recommends that the Senate do confirm the nominee of Professor Mansour Al-Walu bin Dawa as non-executive commissioner on the governing board of Nigeria Commercial Commission. prayer, Mr. President, that the Senate do approve the recommendation of the committee. I so move, Mr. President.
Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Professor Mansour Awalu Bindawa for appointment as the non-executive commissioner of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Professor Mansour Awalu Bindawa is hereby confirmed as new non-executive commissioner of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC.
The federal government on Tuesday resumed negotiations with the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Tuesday's meeting is the second of its kind since the academic declared a one-month warning strike 3 weeks ago. The academics are seeking improved welfare, revitalization of public universities, and university autonomy, among other demands. As a representative at Tuesday's meeting said they were no longer interested in signing a memorandum of understanding. They demanded action on past agreement. Meanwhile, the Minister of Labor and Employment, Chris Egige, expressed optimism that the impasse will be resolved. Both parties disagreed on who is delaying the evaluation process for the University Transparency Accountability Solution, UTAS, as its preferred payroll system. While the minister said the union is delaying the process of finalizing with the National Information Technology Development Agency on areas where harmonization is needed, the academic insisted that NIDA was unprepared for them. Disagreement over a payroll system is one critical factor that academics have listed for embarking on the latest strike. Following the outcry of the host communities over alleged neglect and delay of the Badagry Deep Seaport project, an idea that was birthed 10 years ago, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on Tuesday said the construction of the deep seaport will start in June once the state is granted ratification by the federal government grant ratification in April. Governor Sanwo-Olu gave the assurance during a stakeholder meeting and community engagement on Badagry Deep Seaport project held at the Administrative Staff College of Nigeria Auditorium in Topo, Badagry. The governor, who assured the people of Badagry that his administration is determined to push development to Badagry axis of Lagos State, reiterated the government's readiness to compensate residents for economic losses on buildings, ancestral land, farms, and sites as a result of the deep seaport. Speaking earlier, Lagos State Commissioner for Commerce, Industry and Cooperative, Lola Konde, said the state government hopes to cut a way forward in ensuring smooth and cordial relationship between investors, Badagry Deep Seaport Limited, and members of the host communities.
It is with a very high sense of humility and a deep sense of respect that I stand here before you again for us to have this communal discourse on how to realize our collective desire, which is to bring a greater wealth and prosperity to this part of our great state. You have opened your doors to us. Your immense contribution to the actualization of this dream is certainly not taken for granted.
Distinguished stakeholders, I would like to commend the management and staff of Badagry Port Development Limited for being visionary in the choice of Badagry as the host community for the Deep Sea Port project and the resilience in ensuring that the project becomes a reality. We remain committed to making Lagos a 21st century economy and therefore will continue to promote sustainable commercial and industrial growth through improved business support policies and infrastructure.
Youth in Lagos State have been charged to embrace the spirit of togetherness and humanitarianism in their various communities. This was by the chairman, Koka Aguda LCDA, Rasak Ibrahim, on an interview with journalists. Being the youngest LCDA chairman in the state, he charged the youth to emulate his legacies in Koka Aguda local government on health, education, environment, security, as well as youth empowerment. Ibrahim advised the youth on impactful commitment in their immediate communities, while he charged them on the need to synergize with elders in the political arena as leaders, and the youth have to work together in building a befitting Nigeria. He, however, urged the youth to register for their voters' card and be wise in their choice of leadership in election come 2023, adding that there is need for the youth to take charge in making Nigeria a better nation.
It's joint politics, and we are going to build the nation ourselves. together, and don't be scared. No work that is easy, but the main thing is for you to have your goal. Getting your PVC, just want to use it in the bank alone. You want to use it for the future. So come out in mass, register for your PVC, and let's move our nation to the greater heights. They are the one that will make everything to click. So everybody have to work together, the leaders and the youth, because our nation, we have to come together and build it.
And that's all from the local scene. We go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you a report from the foreign scene. Please stay with us.
Welcome, Simi. Welcome to Badge, and welcome back, Obia Sika. All right, the judges of Nigerian Idol Season 7 are ready. The stage is set, and now it's time for you to impress.
Nigerian Idol Season 7, showing every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Africa Magic Showcase, Urban and Family. Proudly sponsored by Biggie Drinks, Nigeria's favorite, and Binance. Exchange the world.
You're watching Mitv Primetime News. Now to foreign stories. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has accused Russia of war crimes after airstrikes, including on the central square in the country's second city. At least 10 people were killed and 35 out when the Opera House, concert hall and government offices were hit in Freedom Square in Kharkiv. Speaking to the European Parliament, Mr. Zelensky urged the EU to prove it was with Ukraine. Later, the main TV tower in the capital Kyiv was hit, putting media off air. Footage on social media shows smoke billowing from the steel structure. 5 people died in the attack, Ukrainian officials said, but the tower remained standing. A nearby memorial to victims of the Holocaust was damaged in the same strike. The Babin Yar Raven is Europe's largest mass grave of the Holocaust, where between 70,000 and 100,000 people, mostly Jews, were shot by the Nazis. Meanwhile, new satellite images emerge of a huge Russian military convoy, which has been outside Kyiv for several days amid fears of an all-out assault on the capital. Russian missiles and rockets have hit the cultural heart of Ukraine's second-largest city in what officials said was a deadly and cruel attack. An opera house, concert hall and government offices were hit in Freedom Square in the center of the northeastern city, Kharkiv. At least 10 people were killed and 35 more were injured, local authorities have said. The attack came as Ukraine's president said Russia was committing war crimes. Video footage showed a missile hitting the local government building and exploding, causing a massive fireball and blowing out windows of surrounding buildings. Freedom Square is the second largest city center square in Europe and a landmark of the city. Kharkiv has been bombed heavily for days now, and 16 people were killed before Tuesday's attack. Mr. Zelensky said his government accuses Russia of trying to lay siege to Kharkiv and other cities, including the capital Kyiv, where a huge Russian armored convoy is approaching. Boris Johnson has said that Vladimir Putin is engaging in barbaric, indiscriminate tactics targeting civilians. The Prime Minister said the Russian president had fatally underestimated the willingness of the Ukrainian people to fight and the reserve of the West. Speaking during a visit to Poland, he also said the UK has set aside £220 million in humanitarian, and meanwhile, Foreign Secretary Liz Truss has said nothing and no one is off the table for further sanctions. The UK is considering calling for Russia to be expelled from the United Nations Asian Security Council, the BBC understands. Johnson said he was increasingly confident Russia's invasion would fail, adding that Mr. Putin must fail in his aims in Ukraine. Up next is sport-related stories. Please stay with us. You're still watching Primetime News. Now talking sports. Shakhtar Donetsk have evacuated the Brazilian players to Romania following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Ukrainian Premier League club worked with UEFA to move 12 players away from the conflict, which continues to escalate across the country. Shakhtar said Dynamo Kyiv and Dnipro have also managed to move foreign players from Ukraine. Shakhtar said in a statement that we went to thank for the assistance everyone took part in this process. The evacuation of the players was made possible thanks to the personal assistance of UEFA President Alexander Seferin, the Ukrainian Football Association President Andriy Pavelko, and the Moldovan Football Federation President Leonard Olenichenko. And just before we draw the curtain on the Primetime News tonight, a quick recap of our top stories. On Constitution Amendment, NAS okays autonomy for local government. Federal government resumes negotiations with ASU. From the foreign scene, Russia Kharkiv attacks are war crimes. Sport, Shakhtar Donetsk evacuate Brazilian players from Ukraine. And it's a wrap on the Primetime News tonight. I am Teresa Adeyemi. Do have a great night. Good night.